Morning, afternoon, evening, from wherever you're watching. Welcome back once again to the Mickey Maths class, a channel solely dedicated to demystifying mathematics, making complex things look easy. If you're here to hit the subscribe button, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification button or bell so that you can see, you will not miss out on wonderful content on the channel. Alright, today we'll be looking at angles. The word angle is gotten from the Latin word. It has its root in the Latin word angulus. Angulus, and this means corner. Now, then what then is an angle? An angle is formed where two rays or line segments meet. So for example, I have something like this. Two rays, 1, 2, when they meet or they share a common end point. This is their end. The two of them, they converge at this point. So the point of convergence, an angle is formed. So this is an angle that has been formed. For example, you can say this is A, this is B. Now, this common or end point is also what we call the vertex. That's the corner where the two straight lines, or line segment rather, the two straight line segment meet. It's called the vertex. Now, this is the arm. This can be called the arm, the two arms. They meet at a common end point. Now, angles are usually measured in degrees. Angles are measured in degrees. The instrument you can use to measure, you can use a protractor to measure an angle. So, angles are in degrees. And the symbol of an angle, this is the symbol of an angle. For example, if I measure this angle and I see that this angle, let's say, assume is 45 degrees, I will put it like this, 45, and put this degrees. Now, let's look at types of angles. The types of angles. The types of angles we have. The first type of angle, we have what we call an acute angle. Acute angle. And what is an acute angle? An acute angle is an angle that lies between 0 degree and 90 degrees. That's an acute angle. It lies between 0 degree and 90 degrees. Some will tell you that it's an angle that is greater than 0, less than 90 degrees. So we can also use that. You can say it is greater than, let's use this, 90 degrees. That means the angle here is bigger than 0 degree, but it is less than 90 degrees. Now, how do we mean? If I say 0 is less than x, that means x is greater than 0 degrees. So take note. For example, if I say 4 is less than 5, it's the same thing as writing 5 is greater than 4. So if I say 0 is less than x, less than 90 degrees, this is the region which an acute angle lies. Greater than 0 or less than 90. Example of acute angle, you can have 2, you can have 45, it's an acute angle, 60, 89 degrees. All are acute angles. Those are examples. So an acute angle lies between 0 degree and 90 degrees. Now the second one is an angle that is exactly 90 degrees. What we call a right angle. A right angle. A right angle. Angle that is exactly 90 degrees. Whose value is exactly 90 degrees. Exactly the value of this angle is 90 degrees. We can see the diagram here. This is an example of a right angle. And this is the symbol for the right angle. When you see the symbol here, it tells you that this angle here is a right angle. Now, obtuse angle, like we said before, it lies between 0 and 90 degrees. So, for example, if I were to represent an obtuse angle, that means an angle from here up to this region, but it's not up to 90, will stand for obtuse angle. So, anything I draw, any line I put here in between represents an acute angle rather, an acute angle. Now, the third one is what we call an obtuse angle. An obtuse angle. And what is an obtuse angle? An obtuse angle is one that lies between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. So it lies between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. Now, let's put the range. That means you can say our 90 degree less than x less than 180 degrees. What does this mean? This means that an obtuse angle is one that is greater than 90 degrees, but it is smaller or less than 180. So, take note, don't confuse it. Acute angle lies between 0 and 90. That means it is greater than 0 degree but less than 90 degrees. For a right angle, it is exactly 90 degrees. For an obtuse angle, lies between 90 degrees and 180. That means it is greater than 90 degrees but less than 180. Now the fourth one we have what we call the straight line angle or straight angle. And just like we have this, the value being exactly 90, for a straight line angle is an angle whose value is exactly 180 degrees. 180 degrees. And a straight line angle is formed where two right angles merge. So this is a straight line angle. If I have two right angles here, 90 degrees, here 90 degrees, the combination of these two will give me 180 degrees. So this is what a straight line angle. And the last one, we have the reflex angle. The reflex angle. Now, the reflex angle is one that lies between 180 degrees and 360 degrees. A reflex angle lies between 180 degrees and 360 degrees. Now, the range of values, you can say 180 degrees less than x less than 360 degrees. So, a reflex angle, in other words, you can say is an angle that is greater than 180 degrees but is less than 360 degrees. So for the reflex angle, if this is my 180 degrees, if I draw another line to meet the 180 degree, a reflex angle has been formed. Where these two things form is a reflex angle, because this is bigger than 180 degree. Then you can have something what we call complementary angles. Complementary angles. What do we mean when we say complementary? Two angles are said to be complementary. Now, two angles are said to be complementary if they sum up to 90 degrees. So, two angles are said to be complementary when, if I add them together, my answer will be 90 degrees. So, I have something like this, and I have an angle in between them. Let's say this is A and this is B. Now, if I add A and B together and I have 90 degrees, that means angle A and B are complementary angles. So take note, complementary angles add up or sum up to 90 degrees. The seventh one, let's look at the seventh one, which is what we call the supplementary angle. Supplementary angle. Now, two angles are said to be supplementary if they add up to 180 degrees. So, two angles are said to be supplementary if they add up to 180 degrees. For example, I have, so if this is my A and this is my B, if I add A and B together and I arrive at 180 degrees, that means those two angles, A and B, are said to be supplementary. So they add up to 180. For example, if A is 26 and B is 154, these two, angle 26 and angle 154, both of them are supplementary angles. Because when I add those two things together, I will arrive at 180 degrees.